MLA Kozolo Bra Assam te illegal immigration na chamela bishi thaga upor address kurishe. Taiba illegal immigrants bukegina 200 upor gari Nagaland gushi ase koigina highlight kurishe. Taiba koishe ki immigrants kando khali buyahi noikina business kan bi kuri ase. Mati kini ase documents manipulate kuri ase aro forged papers kan cholai kina electoral rolls to be registered kuri ase koishe. Kozolo Bra employment development food security aro sovereignty upor concern nataisha aro koishi ki Naga Khan to ILP aro register of indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland bra protect kuri ase koishe. Taiba immigrant population aro floating populations kan nimide physical door to door census matisha. Taiba entry points te bhal manpower aro resource anurodh kurishe.
First of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me the permission to initiate a discussion on protection of indigenous people. Mr. Speaker, sir, the recent move to addressing the illegal immigrants in Assam has sparked a lot of controversies. We have all seen in the social media, as per the social media, around 200 vehicles packed with illegal immigrants try to enter Nagaland through New Land. But due to the prompt action of the administration and the police department, which we thank them, had prevented them from entering. How did this was prevented? It was because it was a huge number of vehicles and huge people. That's why it was prevented. However, as far as illegal immigrants entering the state of Nagaland is concerned, we don't need any proven evidence. We are sharing 512.1 kilometer border with Assam. We have a lot of check gates, ILPs in place. They're checking every illegal immigrant that is entering. But what about the 500 kilometers 512 kilometers that has no fence, no borders? They have not only entered, we can see it with our own eyes, but they have also started to run good amount of business. They have also acquired lots of land and property by manipulating documents or whatsoever, we don't know. And surprisingly, they have even entered their names into the electoral rolls using forged papers, I believe. Mr. Speaker, sir, we talk about employment, development, food security, sovereignty, so on and so forth. But how can we achieve all this if we don't have control over our own land? Because for the indigenous people, self-determination is not an abstract demand. It is a time-tested right and truth, and we have every right to decide who enters our land and who will not enter our land. We have every right to decide how we live, what we eat, how we govern ourselves, and how we engage with the land and the environment. But that balance, Mr. Speaker, sir, is now under threat because we have forgotten our ways, because the conditions around us are changing faster than we can ever imagine. When the land is no longer ours to protect, when outsiders decide who stays and who belongs, even the strongest systems collapse. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think as far as Nagas are concerned, we should be thankful to the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation Act 1837, because this has given birth to ILP. Or, in other words, it is known as Inland Line Permit Regulation, which is a gift from the British era. Date is 1837, sorry, standing for correction. Yes, I agree. We Nagas somehow are safe because at least we have ILP and Riin in place. But my argument here is, are these two enough to protect us in the long run? And also, as a matter of fact, Riin being hardly implemented. Mr. Speaker, sir, let us not pretend that we are safe. If countries like United States of America, Canada, Great Britain, France They are struggling to protect their land and the boundaries. What makes us think we are safe? When we have no fence, no surveillance, and barely have any say who enters our land and who doesn't enter our land. When we don't have any say, how can we ever imagine we are safe? I'm sure all of us has gone through the TV reports, YouTube reports where things has gone viral. The illegal immigrants in the United States of America, Canada, Great Britain, France, they've started protesting. They've started protesting that the nomenclature of the country itself should be changed. And they're even protesting that the constitution should be changed in the likeness of the illegal immigrants. So they are no more safe. They have every system in place, but they are under threat. For us, we have hardly anything in place. So how can we think we are safe when people come in silently and take our names, then marry into our families, then they lease the land out and later on start claiming it. And that's how we are slowly disappearing. If we continue like this, our children will grow as strangers in their own land one fine day, speaking others' language, farming others' land, and living under somebody else's rule. Friends, we have seen what has happened in the neighboring states and in our own, where indigenous communities have become minorities in their own homeland. It does not happen overnight, Mr. Speaker. It happens gradually. It happens when people like us remain silent. For example, let us talk about Tripura. Tripura, how did it start? It started with humanity. In the year 1947, when the Great Partition took place, at that point of time, Bangladesh was known as East Bengal. And when the partition, East Pakistan. When the Great Partition took place, there were a lot of human guys. Some favored to be Indian, some wanted to be there. So that time, there was a lot of killings. And at that point of time, the Tripura king, who was gracious, kind enough, took a lot of illegal immigrants to settle in their land. Later on, they occupied the lands, they became masters of the land, and today, in Tripura, the indigenous people have become minorities in their own homeland. We all know Tripura has 66, but today the indigenous people occupy only hardly 26. And I'm also going to understand that in the next coming general election, they are going to go below 20. So this is all about humanity. Now, in the recent video clips, you look at Assam, what is happening? As I stated in the first statement, the illegal immigrants, they've even challenged the chief minister, who is a powerful chief minister, Himanta Biswas. They even threatened that they will finish, they will not allow Okome Basha to prevail in the few years from now. Okome Basha will go extinct. They even threaten like that. So that's why we need to be aware. But today, these time-tested systems are under threat. We are living through a moment where the very foundations of who we are as indigenous people is under pressure from all sides. We must stand firm and reaffirm indigenous rights to self-determination. We must also confront one of the most pressing challenges to our survival and sovereignty. That is the steadfast influx of population into our ancestral lands, Mr. Speaker. This is not a new phenomenon. Across many indigenous homelands, including ours, demographic changes have been quietly reshaping our landscape, economics, and culture as well. The influx, whether through undocumented migration or unchecked settlement, threatens to destabilize the delicate balance of our people that we have maintained with the land for centuries. Now, Mr. Speaker, in the late 80s and early 90s, I used to live in Dimapur. At that point of time, we see very less non-locals. So the demographic change today, if I'm to say that it's still the same 30 years back, I'm lying to this house, I'm lying to myself, I'm cheating myself. The demographic changes that have taken place even in Dimapur itself within the 2-3 decades is enormous, is alarming. And so today, I want to give this as a wake-up call. Let us be clear that this is not about hostility or exclusion. Indigenous people have long been known for their generosity, hospitality, openness, kindness, and so on and so on. But our kindness, our goodness, our hospitality is being construed, and taken advantage of. And so therefore, our good hospitality, kindness, goodness, frankness should not become a tool for erosion. The absence of a clear legal framework and effective governance leaves us vulnerable. As our lands become contested, our food system disrupted, and our cultural identity increasingly at risk. Our children will one day be subjugated under the Mia or IBI rule if we continue in this manner. In many areas, our traditional knowledge is being ignored, our seats are being replaced, our lands are being taken away without consent, and our people are being pushed to the margins economically, politically, and socially. Mr. Speaker, sir, day before yesterday, the other day also we have seen the case about GNSU and one Nirmala Jain. I don't know whether that Nirmala Jain statement is true or not, but as a matter of fact, all of us know there are many land and properties which belongs to non-locals, but the permit, if you go and check, it is in the locals' name. I can guarantee you, in Dimapur, more than 70% of land and property does not belong to the Nagas, though the name may be Naga. These are the things that is happening. And so therefore, it's a wake-up call. This is why we must now move beyond symbolic recognition to structural changes. When indigenous people have the power to govern their land, protect their forests and guide their development, we just don't preserve culture, but we create sustainable futures. Earlier this year, the Northeast Indigenous People Forum adopted the JOICA Declaration, a powerful document that urges all state legislators to take up concrete action to protect indigenous rights and ensure that our voices shape the policy that affects our life. Today, why we are discussing this? Because this Northeast Forum of Indigenous People, they met me 2-3 times. They handed me an application to be handed over to the Chief Minister because they could not reach out to him. So I reached out to him, he endorsed it to you, and therefore today, thanks to you, we are discussing on this issue. The declaration calls for the establishment of a dedicated Department of Indigenous Affairs in each Northeast states so that indigenous concerns are not treated as afterthoughts, but as central pillars of governance and planning. This is not a demand born out of politics. No, we should not take it as politics. It is a moral, cultural, and constitutional necessity. Our own scholars have long warned us of what lies ahead. Their wisdom must shape policies, not remain buried in seminar or papers. Our identity, knowledge, and survival must be protected with permanent legal strength and legal structure. Mr. Speaker, sir, my speech here will not be incomplete if I don't give some suggestions. So therefore, I'll give some few suggestions and wind up my speech. Number one suggestion. The government should start a physical door-to-door census of all the Mias, irrespective of whether they possess ILP, Aadhaar card, or any other document. Census should be taken up in the urban and rural areas, including all the colonies. This should include profession, trade-wise categories. Listing of name of buildings of actual Naga house owners, which is being rented to the Mias and non-locals, should also be recorded. The names of the shops, trade license, all should be recorded. Names and photo of shop owner, salesman sitting in the shop also should be recorded. Census of all type of vehicles, be it taxi, JCB, Tata mobile truck, so on and so forth, all should be recorded. Census should also be done for all the workers, example, painters, masons, electricians, welders, plumbers, daily wage earners, along with photos also should be recorded. Name of the Mias and total number of members per family with photos. Once completed, Mr. Speaker said, the report should be published in all media to create awareness among the actual situation for everyone to act, starting with the state government. Government must also provide adequate manpower with modern resources in all entry points of police outposts such as the Parent, Dimapur, Newland, Woka, Mokokchung, Longland, and more. And also set up deporting centers. Mr. Speaker, deporting centers is very important. We have to set up deporting centers in all these entry points. Therefore, in order to take up this massive job, the need of the hour is to have a department created for indigenous affairs in order to look into the above and be 24/7 round-the-clock vigilance. Mr. Speaker, so when we talk about creating a department, we should not worry so much. We know the financial constraint of the state government. So now what we can do is, we already have a department in place. Tribal affairs, minority affairs, we have that. So we can utilize it and club it into an indigenous department as well. We can create that department. We do not spend money. And as far as the manpower is concerned, redeployment. I'll give you an example. At least in printing and stationery department, I can rest assure you, there are more than 300 employees who take the pay but they don't have any job. So these people should be redeployed and have a department. So to have a department is not a very difficult job now. So this is what I want to say. Now my concluding remarks, Mr. Speaker, sir. Let this day not end with words alone, but let us begin with a renewed commitment. Let us be a generation that said enough is enough. Let us be remembered as the generation that stood together, fought together, and gave out today for the better of our children tomorrow. With these few words, I want to thank you.
Nagaland TV, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.